Hi, my name is David Adkins, and I'm here with Bill Lunsford. He's my graphic artist for the new series, And We Were Gods. The book is going to be at least, the deadline is June 20th. So we're looking at possibly doing more than just the novel and the graphic novel, but also trying to work towards the animation series. Now, with us being at a con, and this is like your only second time at a con?
The second time is being part of the con. I went to many cons in the 80s and 90s when, I was in the stands,
fanning,
talking to the other artists,
So, with that being the case, you see this from a whole different dynamic now.
Yes, absolutely.
So, how do you see the opportunities actually flourishing here now versus, because you were there with the comic book days where struggling artists were struggling artists.
Yeah, I mean, actually, in those days, you would actually bring your portfolio to the con and stand in line for 2 hours to talk to an artist or talk to someone with Marvel or someone with DC. So that was a whole different thing, and they'd give you 5 minutes.
Yeah, and now you go through the artist alley, and what do you see?
It's totally different. No one really does that anymore. Goes to talk to the comic. In fact, the comic people usually don't even show up. Marvel and the bigger companies. Mostly it's independents now.
It really is, and you see just in what we saw in the artist alley and the dealer's room and all the just people in general actually that had portfolios on their phones.
Yeah, that's true. I never thought I'd see that. I mean, in some ways that's really good. So many people are interested in comics now and in the movies, and it made a huge comeback. Where I thought maybe sometime, seemed like about 10 years ago or so, maybe just a little longer, where it was really dying out, and you got the Hollywood started making the superhero movies, and then there was a big resurgence in the actual comics.
Yeah.
Well, think about it this way. Let's just try this in your head. Let's say you had Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner, okay? Chuck Jones. You remember how good that was? You remember how the characters looked? You remember the expressions and things? I don't care how many computers you had. You could not replicate that.
Yeah, and you don't see the emotional facial expressions anymore.
You couldn't. Well, you can't. It's because it's like somebody like Chuck Jones. That's like a signature. The way he draws is like how you sign your name. Mm-hmm. You can't do that in 3D. So it's the same thing with a comic book. So if you have somebody like John Buscema, or you had somebody like doing Conan or Barry Smith, or the reason why that character, the book that those guys worked on, you could have a guest artist. Let's say when Buscema didn't do it, it just wouldn't be the same. They're so overpowering, but they also is the thing about a comic book artist at that time was he didn't overstep the character. He knew just how to have just enough personality for you to go, oh, that's a Buscema, but Conan was still king.
Right. From there, you also see what's going on right now in the art industry in general, and how it's like dumbed down.
I think it's dumbed down, yeah.
And it's like I can't see facial expressions even in comic books now. I mean, it's like generic.
Well, it's generic. There's too many of the scenes are the same. There's not enough backgrounds. There's not enough perspective. The comic book frame is not two-dimensional. It's three-dimensional. It goes back. It's like a mirror. It goes back in time to wherever. Conan, if he's on a hill, somebody that like the great artists of the Silver Age, or even in the 80s and just before the 90s. I mean, they would set up a whole perspective. You'd see the castle even if it was 10 miles away, and all the horses that were coming down the pathway, they'd all be right. They wouldn't cheat on it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, Prince Valiant, if you want to go back.
Oh
to,
yeah.
You know, Prince
yeah.
Valiant. You want to go back to the Phantom, or you want to go back to Doc Savage. I think a good comic book is the same thing. Does the same thing a good musician does. Let's say you're watching someone play the piano. Someone was playing here at the Marriott. All right, and they started to play some of your favorite songs. Would you want to hear them do 15 trills and do like all sorts of elongated choruses, notes, or would you want to hear your song? You'd want to hear your song. So a modern comic day artist, a lot of times it's all about the icing and nothing about the cake. It's all about panel graphics, or or how many close-ups and details we can do on somebody's necklace. But all I want to do is read the story.
And the stories are not entertaining.
Well,
it's more about the art than it is the story.
Well,
in a lot of cases.
It should be two things.
Yeah.
It's a song has lyrics and the music.
Yeah.
So it should be about the the character and the art and the story. These guys are hungry, and it would be great though to turn the clock back a little bit with a new studio and try to bring back some of the things that I think was great about comics in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. I'd even like to see them printed on newsprint again.
Oh yeah.
Because
yeah.
I never quite understood the slick paper, because it's so shiny that sometimes the image is just too complicated.
The deadline is coming. It's June 20th, and we are going to be taking pre-orders.